Yes. All right. Good morning. We'll call to order the Board of County Commissioners for, I'm sorry, no we won't. We'll call together the Truckee Meadows Fire Board Commissioners for October 6th of 2020, and we will start this morning with a salute to the flag. Mr. Scott Wilcox, I'm sure it's probably lieutenant or general or something like that. Would you lead us in a salute to the flag, please, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And with that, we will go to the clerk, and please call the roll.
Bob Lucy is absent. Marcia Burke-Bigler, Vice Chair.
Here.
Kitty Jung.
Present.
By phone, Von Hartung.
Here.
Jeannie Herman.
Here.
Chief Moore.
Here.
Mary Canderas, District Attorney.
Here.
And I'm Jan Galasini, Chief Deputy Clerk. Madam, you have a quorum.
Thank you. And with that, Chief, we will go to public comment.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Public comment. Comment heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the Board of Fire Commissioners' agenda. The district will also hear public comment during individual action items, with comment limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments are to be made to the Board of Fire Commissioners as a whole.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment?
I have nobody signed in. I don't know on Zoom.
Anything on Zoom? Okay, we will close public comment and bring it back to the board to item number 4, which is Commissioners and Fire Chiefs announcements. Chief.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I want to request that we move item 12 immediately after consent due to some time constraints of our consultants. And then we're also going to pull item number 14.
Okay.
In addition, I wanted to mention that Chief Ray Brunstrom, who was Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District Chief from 1990 to July 1998, has passed away as of September 15th. So wanted to just mention to the board we're thankful for his service. Certainly TM wouldn't be even in existence if Chief Brunstrom hadn't developed a fine fire department for us. So we're sad about his passing, but thankful for his years of service.
Thank you, sir. Would you like to do a moment of silence, sir? Okay.
Yes.
Let's do that. Would you join us in a moment of silence for our retired and now gone to heaven chief? Thank you very much. Chief, anything else?
No,
Any other
Madam Vice Chair.
announcements? Okay, Commissioners, does anybody have an announcement? Yes,
Madam
Commissioner
Chair.
Hartung.
Madam Chair, Madam Clerk,
Whatever.
my turn. Chief, and I know that you may not have any information on this, but can you bring us back some information about when the 911 system was down and how that possibly affected and what we can do as a workaround if people do have to call us, you know, during those outages? I'm pretty sure it was more of a regional outage, but I'd like to know what the circumstance was with that, and I'm gonna try to follow up with that on the BCC board as well, just to make sure that people know how to get in contact with emergency services in the event that the system does not operate correctly. Thank you. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay. Commissioner Jung, did you have anything?
I do. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I would want to also, same request as Commissioner Hartung, but also one other question, and that is, how does the emergency alerts go out to all of our phones, for instance, with the Red Rock fire over the weekend? Who's in charge of them? What's the decision matrix? Who pushes them, et cetera? If you could get that together. And I'm going to ask at the Board of County Commissioners as well for the exact same thing. So if you could help with that. And then finally, should there ever, which is probably a likelihood, be another outage, do we have any other built-in, I'm forgetting the word, redundancies to make sure that we are doing everything we can with technology that is not a likelihood? Thank you, Madam Chairwoman.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Commissioner Jung. And Commissioner Herman, did you have anything? Okay, I have nothing, and so we will move on to the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, if there's any questions about any of the items, I'd be glad to answer them, but
Okay, consent is item 5A through E. Any questions?
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any public comment, Madam Clerk?
I have nobody signed in.
Okay. Good. In that case, we will, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries with all commissioners voting and Commissioner and Chair Lucy absent. And with that, I believe we're moving to item 12. Chief?
thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Item 12 is a recommendation to adopt a budget resolution for general obligation bonds. We have with us via Zoom Mr. John Peterson, who is our bond consultant from J&A Consulting Group, and our bond counsel, Kendra Follett from Sherman and Howard. And these bonds are intended to reimburse the district for the purchase of the lot that district purchased some months ago in Washoe Valley for the purposes of a consolidated fire station, and also to pay the costs for the redevelopment of Station 37 in Hidden Valley. So with that, I will turn it over to John Peterson, and he will give you a summary of where we're at.
Mr. Peterson? Is he unmuted?
This is John Peterson. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you very much.
Again, John Peterson with J&A Consulting Group for the record. Appreciate the commission taking the time to consider this item. I think as Chief Moore laid out, this is a proposal to issue up to $2.1 million of bonds for the projects that were identified. And really want to point out that this is the completion of a process that began earlier this year in January. And so I think as laid out in the briefing materials, there have been several steps that the district has gone through, including receiving approval from the Debt Management Commission of Washoe County to issue these bonds, and really wanted to focus my comments today on what has transpired since that Debt Commission meeting earlier this year. And I think the highlights would be that originally we anticipated that this bond would be complete around June of this year, but obviously the outbreak of COVID-19 caused us to reevaluate that schedule and push some of that back. So we're here today. Prior to this meeting, we sent out a request for financing proposals. That RFP was sent to 32 banks to gauge their interest in financing this project for the district. We received our bids on September 23rd, and we asked for two options. We asked for either a 15-year financing or a 20-year financing. We had 4 proposals for the 15-year option and 5 proposals for the 20-year option. This morning, we're recommending, based on the results of that proposal, which are attached to the agenda materials, the proposal for the 15-year amortization from Zions Bank. That is at a 1.53%. That's a fixed rate, would be fixed for the entire life of that 15-year bond. Results in an annual debt service of approximately $157,000 per year for that 15-year period. The reason that we're recommending this proposal instead of one of the 20-year proposals really has to do with the interest rate differential. As we looked at the 20-year proposals, essentially that additional 5 years was costing us almost a full percentage point. So we thought it prudent to, save that percentage point, shorten this repayment by 5 years, and in total that would save the district approximately $300,000 in interest over that period. That's really the difference where that comes in. So that is our recommendation, and obviously there's the summary there of the bids that were received. I would say that it was a very thorough process, very competitive process, and appreciate staff and all of their time, both Chief Moore and CFO Vance, for all of her work, getting this project ready to go. And I'll stop there and see if there are any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. And I do have a question from Commissioner Hartung.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Initially, and maybe Chief, you can answer this, the statement was made about up to $2.1 million. This isn't a line of credit. Are we going for the full amount? Because it says the maximum principal amount of $2.1 million. Is there a chance that it would be less than 2.1?
Probably not, Commissioner. It's likely we'll need the full amount
Sure.
for both. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, but it said up to, I mean, he said up to $2.1 million, and so I didn't understand, and perhaps it's just a misunderstanding in terms of phraseology, but it appears to me that we need the full $2.1 million, and we've estimated and calculated the repayment on the full $2.1 million.
I could give a, Madam Vice
If I
Chair.
may.
Yes.
And I apologize, that really was poor wording from me. We are recommending the full $2.1 million.
Okay, all right, that's all. I just wanted to make sure, because I know this is not a line of credit, and so it just didn't make, and forgive me, words matter, and so I wanted to make sure that we are going for the full 2.1, and because I think we're going to need every penny of that. So that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Hartung. I see the clerk is trying to get my attention.
So there were updates made to the resolution that was originally posted online. The changed document has been posted online and distributed to the board for the record.
Okay, yes, it's right there. Oops. All right, Chief.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Just to add to the explanation for Commissioner Hartung's question, about $1.5 million will be allocated for Station 37 and $500,000 for the land reimbursement back to the district.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Commissioner Jung, did you have anything you wanted to ask?
No, I think it's a great job, and I think Ms. Vance does a wonderful job, and I saw that we gave her a raise, and I'm fully in support of that as well, and the chief's work on keeping Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District probably the most whole government agency as we look at it today. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jung. All right. We will go to public comment. Do we have any public comment, Madam Clerk?
I have nobody signed in.
And nothing on Zoom? Okay, then we will close public comment and bring it back to the board, and I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. We have done public comment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries with all four commissioners voting and Chair Lucy absent. Thank you. Chief, we will now go back to item 6.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I'm going to step down to the podium, ask Captain Derek Reed to come down, and if your wife would like to join you, Derek, she'd be welcome. It's my pleasure to present to Derek Reed, our captain, who has spearheaded the peer support network for the district. This program is taking off in a big way. Not only has it gone interdepartmental, regional, now statewide, and he's proven himself to be a leader in our organization and also for this particular program. And we really are recognizing that years of stress in this profession can add up cumulatively, and we wanted to present Captain Reed, soon to be Battalion Chief Reed, but I don't want to steal the thunder for next month. But thought I would announce as well as that we're promoting Captain Reed to Battalion Chief Reed. But nevertheless, Derek, we'd like to present you with a golden axe for your work in this, and say congratulations for all your great things that you've done. And then with Derek, I wanted to announce his wife, Misty, and Steve Nicholas, who's our resident clinical psychologist, who works in tandem with Derek to help develop this program. So Derek, if you'd like to say a few words. Sure.
And I'll make it brief. It's been an honor to serve the ones that serve us, not only with our department, but our first responders, community at large. So the honor is truly mine. Thank you.
Thank you, and I don't think we as commissioners can be more proud of anybody than what you guys have done for our soldiers, our firefighters, our people who are out there taking care of everything for us, and we so appreciate what you're doing. And hopefully wildfire season will go away so we can kind of relax a little bit and not have to worry about all of you out there all the time, but thank you so much.
Thank you, and I'd be leaving a lot out if I didn't acknowledge the people that have supported this effort. Yourselves, Chief Moore, Chief Kuklus, Steve Nicholas, and then we kind of overlapped family and work with my wife being our department chaplain. So it is truly a group effort, and I wouldn't be able to do it without them. So thank you again, and to all of them.
Thank you.
I'd like to take the moment to say thank you very much for the support for this endeavor. I said several months ago that this idea works and it's the right idea. We have enough months behind us now to absolutely validate that expression that serving those who have served us is not only the right idea, but it's working. So thank you for the continued support of our first responders and the folks who have served us so valiantly.
Thank you. Commissioner Hartung?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Captain Reed, I'm so pleased. What a great honor. I know we talked about this last year, about how we could broaden the scope and get other agencies in. And I know you've worked with the sheriff's office. I was on one of those calls at one point. It's good to see it broadened to the entire group of first responders, regardless of where they hail from. And there's great power in numbers. And there's no reason for duplication for one agency to have exactly the same thing. I mean, and you're all dealing with the same stuff. And so it's really important. And I commend you for taking that task on of making it a region-wide effort. And so, well done, and I'm still hopeful. I don't know, have we included first responders like, ER docs and those, that whole group of people that work in first response as well?
Yes, sir. We've all is included: EMS, fire, law
That's great.
enforcement, hospital professionals, and there's a place for military as well, both active and retired.
Wow, that's great. That's wonderful.
Great.
And we are pushing a statewide initiative as well. We just brought on Las Vegas Fire to the network as well. So
Wow.
it will be a statewide peer support network.
Have you talked in terms of veterans, have you talked to fellows like Shane Whitecloud and Boone Cutler, who have been deeply involved in some of these things for many years, who are veterans?
We are looking to open up that conversation. Military is a very special group.
Yes.
They're very tight, but we always have a place for them to have their own page, their own resources
Yeah.
listed, and yes.
Let me know. I'd be happy to introduce you to both of them. I know there are many others, but those are two that I've been very tightly connected with for quite a number of years. They've been doing great work.
We'd be interested in that.
And Boone has his own radio show, Talking Point.
That's great,
That could really help you.
for sure.
Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Hartung. Commissioner Herman, did you have anything? Okay, Commissioner Jung, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Just well done, Mr. Reed. And I have to tell you, now that I'm paying attention to this more in terms of the post-trauma that first responders, specifically firefighters, face, I'm sure you've been well aware of the hotshot who's been missing, his car found, et cetera. And the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about is the suicide rates that are so very high with people that experience the trauma like firefighters experience. So thank you for all you do. And as always, I'm always here to help. I think it is. And I think it's wonderful your wife is there, because I know she carries a hell of a lot of that burden too, just waiting for you at home. And it's wonderful you brought her into the fold as a chaplain. I think that's the number one thing that we know about mental health is the more support you have, the better your outcomes are. So very, very well done. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner Jung, and, I know we all feel very strongly as citizens who live here about how blessed we are to have such a great team. It's not just our firefighters at Washoe County and not just our sheriff department, but it's the whole team, everybody. And as Commissioner Hartung mentioned, even our ER docs, who I've done a lot of work with in the past, and it's great, and we are very blessed to have such a wonderful team here, so thank you once again. Chief, I understand that we have a second award for Captain Reed.
We do, Madam Vice Chair. I'd like to bring to the podium Mr. Wilcox from the Veterans of Foreign Wars post in Verdi, and he has a presentation as well.
Thank you, Chief.
Morning, all.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me today. It's always a pleasure to be here, especially on an occasion like this. I don't really know how to follow what everybody has just brought up, but for the record, my name's Scott Wilcox. I'm Service Officer of VFW Post 10,053 in Verdi. And one of the jobs I'm tasked with is promoting our national programs. One of those is for public safety. And we truly support our first responders, and it's very important to us, and I've talked to Chief Moore about our county has, to me, I feel safe living in it because of our first responders. So when I go and ask for recommendations, somebody that's stood out and done things that helps promote their occupation, the up-and-coming firefighters, EMTs, and sheriff's deputies, it's an honor that I get this in the mail to present a National Firefighter of the Year award. So this is just not local or district or department, this is national. And I could go and read through the whole thing, but I think everybody has basically said how important Captain Reed is to this, and I concur with that. And I know, being a veteran with the suicide rate, how important it is to get people to talk and to continue to talk, and don't let them sit there and just wallow in their agony. There's help out there, and we need to get it to them. But today, I'm presenting the National VFW Firefighter of the Year Award to Captain Derek Reed with a check for $375. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Captain Reed.
This is truly an honor. I thank you, and it's a special honor to be receiving it from a veteran, and thank you for your service, sir. It's
Well done.
thank you. Yeah, I don't have many words. I'm a little bit shocked. But thank you very much. I truly appreciate it. It's an honor.
Thank you. We're honored to have you on our team. Thanks.
Thank you again. Have a great day.
Thank you, you too. Chief, with that, we'll move to item 7. That makes it sort of tough to top, doesn't it?
It does. I don't believe that Local 2487 has a report today.
Okay.
So we'll skip to item 8, which is Fire Prevention Month proclamation. I'd like Chief Way to just give a little intro, and if one of the commissioners, Madam Vice Chair, would like to read the proclamation, I'd be honored to have you do so.
Sure, I'll be happy to. I don't.
Good morning.
Do I have it?
So it's Fire Prevention Month again, and this is how the 100th year of Fire Prevention Day, which was started in 1920, instituted by Woodrow Wilson. And this was actually in response to the Great Chicago Fire that occurred in 1871, which killed about 300 people and destroyed about 3.3 miles of that city. And so obviously, fire prevention is something that starts with preparedness, and we send out a lot of reminders. We educate people quite a bit about fire prevention throughout the year. However, October has that special emphasis because of the Chicago fire. So this year's fire safety theme from NFPA, the National Fire Protection Association, is serving up fire safety in the kitchen. Most fires in residences start in the kitchen. That's where the most fire deaths are caused from. Most fire injuries are in the home and generally revolve around cooking. I would like to highlight our website, where we have done a really good job of
That's great.
updating information on there available to the citizenry. And again, as just a reminder, although that's the theme this year, wildfire obviously presents a significant hazard for us, and people need to remain vigilant and create defensible space. I think we had a pretty good example of this last Friday at one of our solar farms, the Turquoise Solar Farm. One of the ones that first just opened. Actually, their defensible space was credited by our crews with minimizing that wildfire that started on that site. And that's all I have.
Well, thank you very much, and yeah, this is a great idea to do it during the month of October, because we all know about the Chicago fire and Mrs. O'Reilly's cow or something like that.
Well, I believe that the cow was blamed, but they never did prove it.
Yeah, no, I know, but we like to blame the cow still. So let me read this proclamation. Let me put my glasses on so I can see it. So let me read this proclamation. Oops, that's not going to work. Better. Whereas Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District Board of Fire Commissioners are committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting our country. And whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire. And whereas home cooking is the #1 cause of home fires and home fire injuries, and whereas given the global pandemic of COVID-19, more residents are staying home longer and cooking more in the home kitchen, thereby increasing the risk of kitchen fires. And whereas residents should stay focused on the food, unattended cooking is the leading cause of fires in the kitchen. And whereas put a lid on it, residents can take simple steps to keep a small kitchen fire from getting out of control by sliding the lid over the pan and turning off the burner. And whereas keep cooking areas clear away clutter, and give cooking appliances space to lessen the chance of a kitchen fire. And whereas prevent scalds and burns, hot liquids and steam from the stove or oven can cause devastating injuries. And whereas the 2020 Fire Prevention Week theme, Serve Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen, reminds us that we personally need to take steps to increase our safety from fire, not only in our own homes, but in our communities. Therefore, the Board of Fire Commissioners does hereby proclaim October 2020 as Fire Prevention Month, and urges all the people of Washoe County to be aware of their surroundings in activities while cooking in the home kitchen, and to support public safety activities and efforts of Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District's fire and emergency services during Fire Prevention Month. Dated the 6th day of October 2020, and signed by our fair chair, Commissioner Bob Lucy. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Commissioners, anybody have comments? Oh, please. You didn't put that on the record. Chief, did you have something you wanted to add?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. We appreciate all the support from the district. And since Chief Way has been here, our Fire Prevention Division has really gotten some legs under it, and we're doing very good work there.
Good. Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate all you do. And with that, Chief, we will move to your fire chief's report.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Item 1 is the Hidden Valley Fire Station update. As you know, we purchased the land, or the house, at 5335 Pelham. I believe the clerk handed out some color renderings of the fire station for you to take a look at. Our consultants are presenting this to county planning this week. So we'll be going back through another SUP process, which will start with the CAB, South Valley CAB, and then on to the Board of Adjustments, and if that's approved, then we'll get going on construction documents and hopefully break ground, I'm guessing April 2021, with occupancy about this time next year.
Good.
So
Very
we're very
pretty.
pleased with the design, and this solution is really turning out to be elegant with, and saving. I think the most important thing is that we're saving the taxpayers a great deal of money with this solution, as opposed to building a freestanding fire station somewhere else.
And this house with the gray roof on the last picture, the house with the gray roof, is that the one that we purchased and we're selling?
Yes.
Okay.
And I might mention that we're close to getting that ready for sale. We're doing some minor repairs, fixing a fence and general cleanup of the lot, and we should be listing that fairly soon. And, I think demand is still strong in the real estate industry. as
It really
Commissioner-
is, yeah. Shouldn't be a
Commissioner Herman
problem.
probably knows, and I don't think we'll have any trouble selling.
Super. Thank you very much. Commissioners? Commissioner Hartung?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chief, I noticed we're only doing 2 bays. Is there an additional bay on sort of what appears to be the north side where there's a driveway coming off I don't know the name of the side street. I'm sorry, I don't live out in Hidden Valley.
We'll actually have 3 bays. One will be connected to the house, which is the RV garage to the house.
Right, that's the one I see over on this side. Is that correct?
Yes,
Right, okay, that's what, the renderings didn't show that, but so it will be a 3-bay.
yes.
Perfect, okay.
Good.
That's wonderful.
Good.
Yeah, what a great addition, and I'm sure the people in Hidden Valley are excited.
Okay. Chief, anything else?
No, Madam Vice Chair, I'll move on to item 2, if you'd like. We held our first green waste collection and had a line of cars almost out to the highway. Chief Eisenhagen let me know that we collected close to 5,000 cubic
Wow.
yards in just the first weekend, so we're going to do this a number of times throughout October and November, so people are really taking advantage of this. It was great to have our fuels crew of 10 people out there managing the collection, because citizens are really taking advantage of this, and this is such a good thing that they're clearing out dead vegetation.
Yep.
So with should be item 3, Fuels Division update. Chief Eisenhagen has given me a little summary of the work that he's done thus far, and I'm very, very proud to say that he's doing some great work for us, not only in removing fuels, but applying for grants. And in fact, he was the operations chief on the Backrat fire, so he brings a wealth of expertise in the wildland arena, and so we're very fortunate to have him. So if there's any questions about what the Fuels Division has been doing, there's a memo there. Otherwise, that'll be it for me.
Any questions, commissioners? Hearing none? Okay. So the shooting range,
And I'll need to step down to the overhead, if I may,
Okay.
Madam Vice Chair. So my staff met with representatives of BLM and the Forest Service and some other local agencies, and the issue is, how do we prevent fires from target shooting? And so the issue is a little more complicated than let's just develop some more ranges. BLM and Forest Service developed some core issues, and one is our public lands are being littered with trigger trash, which means that people will take items out to actually shoot, and unfortunately, they're just left there to accumulate. So our public lands are becoming, well, a junkyard of items like this. So that's one of the strategies we need to address. 2 is a degradation of the resources. It's not only just trees and restrooms and signs, and everything out in the public lands has a bullet hole in it. So we really do honor the fact that recreational shooting is loved by our citizens, but we want to redirect that activity into something that's more centrally located and perhaps even more developed into shooting ranges, and not just have it dispersed everywhere throughout the public lands. One of the problems with shooting is the amount of hazardous materials that's left, including lead and shell casings, and this becomes a big effort to clean up. So if we can concentrate the use into certain areas that are developed for shooting, we would potentially eliminate a lot of this. Of course, we have the fire danger. BLM reports that they respond to somewhere around 10 shooting fires every year. That's about matches our data as well. And there's public education that needs to go along with this. And in talking to Commissioner Herman before the meeting, we talked about a public-private partnership where I believe we're going to have shooting enthusiasts and perhaps retailers from the private sector join the public sector to try to develop more public education. Believe it or not, people sometimes don't even know where they're at and on what jurisdiction that they're shooting because perhaps it's not even clearly marked. And I know the sheriff gets a number of shooting calls where people just have no idea that they're actually on private property, let alone what jurisdiction they're in, whether it's Forest Service or BLM or where. So there's a big public education component that needs to go along with our effort in this. Of course, safety of the public is big. We do have some interface problems with people who are hiking and biking and recreating, and then they come fairly close to people who are shooting, and so we have these conflicts between people who are just out enjoying versus target shooters, and so sooner or later, and we hope to avoid any kind of a tragedy where recreational shooting causes injury or death to an innocent bystander. One of the big issues, of course, is the lack of developed shooting ranges. I know that the county does what it can for its range in Palomino Valley, and there's a lot of discussion about wanting to develop an additional shooting range that has a range master and has developed targeting areas. The lands for that really need, if that is one of the solutions, then the county would need to pursue with BLM the acquisition of that land, and perhaps there's some grant money that we can go for that. And I've been in touch with Bill Chan, who's a staffer for Senator Cortez Masto, and I've explained the problem to him, and I believe the senator would be willing to help us in any way that she can to try to help us fund some sort of solution. I know the range in Palomino Valley has limited opportunities for the public because it's also shared with the military and law enforcement, so an additional range would certainly help with access to a developed shooting range. And then finally, compliance with state, local, and federal laws. We do have congested area signs posted, but sometimes people are still shooting there because perhaps it's not signed enough, perhaps it's not clear enough. And that's what I mentioned where the sheriff is responding to these calls where people are shooting in congested areas. Well, people may not have even seen the sign. So there's a lot of public education. There's more signage as part of the solution here. And then finally, the type of ammunition. There's certainly some education that needs to go along with here, that steel core jacketed ammo seems to be the ammunition that is starting most of the fires, if not all of the fires. And so we need to again, partner with the private sector, perhaps with retailers, so people understand that the ammunition that they're using can contribute to fires out in the wildlands. So I think TM, your TM staff has taken this issue about as far as we can, that now we're really ready to support the county and BLM and Forest Service in the next step, and that would be to try to secure a piece of ground. And I know budget monies are tight, but long-term, we would certainly support developing of another shooting range wherever that might be. And that, of course, butts up against the budget constraints of how do you staff it, how do you fund it, how do you build it. So I haven't seen, since we've been dealing with this issue for about 2 years, I've never seen as much momentum as there is right now with BLM and the Forest Service and our local agencies. So wanted to give you a summary of where we're at with this and answer any questions, but we are taking steps forward.
Thank you, Chief. You know, I think you're aware that I can carry a concealed weapon. I need to renew my permit right now, so I'm not carrying right now, but I normally do. And my whole family are shooters. So this is an issue that I have a great deal of thanks to Commissioner Herman, who has really put it out there and really tried to get this up. We need to make sure that we are giving people a safe place for them to go shoot, so that they're not doing what happened down in Commissioner Lucy's district, where people were shooting out in the field and shot into houses and right by a school and shooting across, roads and where cars or off-road vehicles are, or trails where people are running or riding bikes. We've had that happen on Peavine and a lot of other places. I know Commissioner Hartung has had problems out in his area too. So I'm glad to see that you guys are on board and that you are going to help us in any way you can get this up and running. And Commissioner Herman is fabulous on this issue, so I thank you for what you're doing. Commissioner Herman, I see you have some comments.
I just wanted to thank the chief for bringing this as the first meeting that had anything mentioned about what we've been trying to do. So we located one place that we think would work quite well, and so we're working with BLM on that. So thank you, Chief Moore.
Good, thank you, Chief. Commissioner Hartung?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chief, have we had any conversations with the Reno Sparks Indian Colony about possibly partnering with them for a place on colony land out near Spanish Springs?
I believe the BLM has spoken with the tribe,
Okay.
but I have not specifically.
Okay, I was just wondering if we had, and I can institute a conversation with them to see if there's any appetite, and there may not be, I don't know. But I know that they have a fairly close footprint to Spanish Springs where shooting is occurring right now. And in fact, we've got it on both sides of the valley, and I know, and I'll also have some conversations potentially with Sparks, because I know that there's shooting going on near Golden Eagle Park. It's BLM land, and it's legal, but safety is, of course, the paramount issue.
So concentrating those shooting sites to those that are designated, I think, is really a good first step in that. So it may be many areas that are concentrated for that purpose, not just anywhere within BLM.
I think that's a great idea, and I know there's some talk about the potential use of a pit out off of Red Rock Road. So I'm certainly interested in that. Those are very often great sites because they are a depression, and there is there's sort of a natural berm there because of the removal of aggregate in this particular case. So
Yeah, good.
okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Commissioner Hartung. Commissioner Jung, did you have something to add?
No, just that I think it's a great idea to provide all recreators opportunities to recreate safely and securely. So I think this is a great opportunity for us probably start looking at all over the county where these could be, so they're also much more convenient for our shooters. And then I have another question, if you could do the research. I want to know, you said law enforcement and military use our shooting range. Can you get a hold of the schedule for that for me? Because we also have the Regional Operations Center that has a range that we all pay for. So I want to see where that's all those resources, how they're being used. So that's my question, but commendation. I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jung, and yes, that is a great idea. My daughter works for the county and works out at the sheriff's shooting range and training center. And I was just out there yesterday, and they were shooting like crazy, and she said they're so booked solid there that they just don't have any openings, and it's constant and it's going on all the time. So I think your point is well taken, and I'd like to see that also, Chief. All right, anything else?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I wanted to mention the status of the Baccarat fire. We're now 40% contained. All the evacuations have been lifted. There's no road closures. And I'm very pleased to report that no structures were lost. We had at least 75 to perhaps 100 that were threatened at one time. And I think you may have seen the pictures on the local news of the two homes that were directly burned right up to their property lines. That defensible space was just so effective in allowing the firefighters to go in and keeping that fire from burning into their property. So it's always a photo is worth 1,000 words, and there certainly is a lot of impact to see how that fire burned right up to their property and stopped. The fire did grow to about 10,500 acres, and we will likely be there with BLM for the next couple of days, mopping up and making sure that the fire is cold.
Okay.
Items B and C, I will let stand unless the board has any specific questions for them. Me.
Commissioner Hartung.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Chief, on the Baccarat fire, do we know the source of ignition?
We do not. That'll be BLM's fire to investigate, but we do know precisely the point of origin.
Okay. Okay, good. And the same question on the solar panel fire. I think that was out, is that one of the fields out near Wadsworth?
Chief Way, may I look to you to answer that one, please?
Because I know we have a couple out there.
So the reports on that were that it was started by the electrical in the panels.
It was the actual panel?
Yes.
Okay,
It's the only source of ignition in the area.
okay.
And that, it's not so far out to Wadsworth, it's at the Patrick exit, near
No,
Apple.
oh, okay, okay, so that's actually a different one.
Yes, that's the first solar farm site.
Is that the one that Apple operates?
No,
Patrick one? Okay, okay. Is it a privately operated?
yes, sir.
Okay. Are we going to institute any additional measures to make sure that, I mean, those things can happen at any time. I mean, they generate a lot of power. And I know that they're all probably looking at some battery backup so that they can push energy into the system at given times as opposed to just during the day. So I'm just wondering if we're instituting any additional measures.
Correct. The site that's being proposed right now at Dodge Flats, which is Wadsworth, is looking at a storage system, an energy storage system.
Right?
So there are provisions, code provisions to address those as well. As far as the turquoise site, the defensible space is the primary means. And we haven't gotten to the fact of talking to the owners yet to see what they determine. But like I say, there's no other source of ignition on the site other than the electrical, which
Okay.
could be anything, up to a loose wire or, something damaged of equipment.
Okay.
Or just an equipment malfunction.
Okay, yeah, and I think they keep everything pretty tight so rodents can't get into it, but, they can be pretty industrious.
Absolutely.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Commissioner Hartung. Chief, anything else?
No, Madam Vice Chair.
All right, let's move on. That's the end of the chief's report. So let's move on to item number 10. Chief.
Item 10 is a recommendation to authorize the acceptance of a grant in the amount of $1.2 million, and I believe Mary Canderas will give you a briefing on this one.
Thank you. Madam Vice Chair, Commissioners, essentially what the district is asking is that we be authorized to accept a grant from the Nevada Division of Forestry in the amount of not to exceed $1.2 million for work that we're doing with Nevada Energy for fire suppression services along, I believe, under scrubbing of power lines, under right-of-ways. Captain Eisenhagen is probably better equipped to talk about the actual work. I put together the paperwork for you and sent it yesterday, and I believe there's copies for the public. So this is just part of our public-private partnership with NV Energy. I believe in the special session, Nevada Division of Forestry was given a grant for fire suppression work, and NV Energy matched it. So that's basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be helping NV Energy, and NDF is going to fund it. So we'll ask that you accept that, and I'll take any questions.
Okay. Commissioner Hartung.
No, can't get my hand out of my pocket fast enough to take the money. So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment on this? And no Zoom? Commissioner Jung, did you have anything you wanted to add? I'm not hearing her, so I'm guessing not. We have a motion and a second. All those,
Sorry, no, I couldn't find my unmute button. I think it's great. My hand is held out as well. And again, Mr. Fire Chief and Ms. Vance, financially, I think you two do probably the best job in the whole northern Nevada. So keep doing it. I'm very, very happy to look at your budget. And then I'm also glad that you don't lay back and just assume that this will always be that way. I love the always searching, but that's because you also came from an area in Colorado that had to do the same that we did with not a lot of tax dollars, but using a lot of other creative ways to solve problems. So I salute that. Thank you.
thank you, Commissioner Jung. Although, we have no public comment. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 I
Opposed? Motion carries with all four commissioners voting and Commissioner Chair Lucy absent today. Chief.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Item 11 is a recommendation authorizing the payment of upfront expenses not to exceed $500,000 for the purchase of 2 Type 5 apparatus and 2 chipper dump trucks. These costs will be reimbursed by NV Energy and the Nevada Division of Forestry. So the 2 Type 5 trucks, again, are for the fuels crew to do their work, and the chipper dump trucks are what we would like to use in the green waste program, where we chip directly into the truck and then take the chips down for recycling.
Sounds great, Commissioner Hartung?
What is a type 5, Chief? I'm not familiar with that. Type 1, type 2, type 3s, I haven't heard of it.
A Type 5 apparatus is more or less a small 3/4 ton, 1 ton type of a fire truck where it's designed specifically for wildland access. So
Okay.
not for structural firefighting, but simply
Yes.
for wildland. So the crews will use these vehicles to carry their tools a little bit of water in the event that the spark happens while they're doing their work. And so if that would ever happen, they'd have the resources there to be able to quickly suppress it.
Where will we house these new pieces of apparatus?
On the short term, we'll keep them at our HQ on Barron Way.
Yes.
Long term, when we actually move the Stead Station up
Wonderful.
north, we'll use the old Stead Station as one location. And also, when we consolidate Washoe Valley, we'll use the old Station 32
Okay.
for one of the squads down south. So we're intending to position some resources in the south and some resources up north.
Yeah, I'd love to see one out in Spanish Springs at some point that can respond not to just Spanish Springs, but out to, Warm Springs and Winnemucca Ranch area. Those can be a useful vehicle. I'm assuming they're four-wheel drive and
Yes.
they're designed for off-road use.
We should be taking delivery of our first order here within a few weeks, so we're glad to show it off.
Yeah, look forward
Good.
to it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Hartung. Any other questions? Commissioner Jung?
no, thank you.
Okay, do we have any public comment?
We have nobody signed in.
And nobody on Zoom? I am looking for a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? There we go. Okay, please affirm your votes. Motion carries with all 4 commissioners voting and Commission Chair Lucy absent today. Okay, Chief, we've done 12, and so I guess we are on to 13.
Madam Vice Chair, item 13 is a recommendation to accept a FEMA grant for staffing of 3 additional firefighters in the amount of $1,038,799. We'll pay the full cost of 3 additional firefighter paramedics with the exception of overtime costs. So salary and benefits are paid under the grant with no cost to the district in those 3 years other than what I just mentioned. So if the board approves this, we will start the process of recruiting, getting them in an academy late this fall, and hopefully deploy them right after the first of the year.
Commissioner Hartung.
Again, I cannot get my hand out fast enough. So moved, to Commissioner Jung's point also. Well done,
Okay.
Chief.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any public comment on this item?
We have nobody signed in.
Okay, we see no public comment. We'll bring it back to the board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries with all 4 commissioners voting, and again, Commissioner Bob Lucy is absent, and we have pulled item 14. Chief, did you tell us?
Yes, Madam Vice Chair, 14 is pulled.
Okay, so in that case, we are on to item 15. Chief?
No additional announcements from me, Madam Vice Chair.
Okay. Commissioners? Commissioner Jung, any additional comments, announcements?
No, thank you. Thank you for asking.
Okay, I see none, so we will close that, and we will go to our final public comment. Chief?
Item 15, item 16 is public comment. Comment heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the Board of Fire Commissioners' agenda. The district will also hear public comment during individual action items with comment limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments are to be made to the Board of Fire Commissioners as a whole.
Thank you, Chief. Madam Clerk?
We have 2 speakers. First up is Mr. Chris Rotifer.
Thank you, Mr. Rutherford. I want to tell you how pleased we are to have people back in our chambers again. We were just talking about that earlier.
Well, it's good to be here, and I appreciate my time. This has nothing to do with fire, but I'm just here as a concerned parent for not only my son, but for all the student athletes here in Washoe County. As you're well aware of, Nevada is one of the states that has not allowed fall sports to commence because of COVID. So I'm just here to talk about that. I want to give a couple statistics and hopefully have some action items or action steps that we can take to get our student athletes back on the field of play. So this was taken off the CDC website yesterday, talking about the age group for high school students, and it kind of broke it down for all of school-age kids. School-age kids make up from 6.8% of the U.S. cases who have come down with COVID. Less than 1/10% deaths. So very, very rare. Compare that with adults 65 years of age or older. They comprise 15% of all cases, 79% of all deaths. So good thing that we're not talking about 65-year-olds playing football or softball in the fall. As parents, educators, health experts, government officials, we need to be more concerned for our kids for drug and alcohol abuse, mental health, phone technology, social media addictions, and suicide. Not keeping sport that they love and being a big part of their high school years. Again, COVID accounts for only 1/10% of all deaths. There's only been 58 deaths according to the CDC. According to Max Preps, again, this is an addition from September 22nd, 34 states have voted to continue with their fall sports. Unfortunately, as I said earlier, Nevada is not one of them. So I'm here to ask why. 3 weeks ago, it was very, you guys probably saw that many of the student athletes within Washoe County School District made public comments at the school board meeting. And we were told that it was the NIAA's decision. Conversely, NIAA said, no, it's the school board's decision. So I know my time's short, but we're here to ask you guys to help with the NIAA to maybe push them along to get our kids back on the field of play, because it'll do irreparable harm to them. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Mr. Bill Smith.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be before all of you. I never thought I would become an activist in the city of Reno. Moved here about 11 years ago from San Diego and absolutely love Northern Nevada. I'm here for exactly the same reason. I'm here on behalf of thousands of parents that would be in this room today if they weren't at work. And I'm here on behalf really of all their children who are attending Washoe County schools, who want to play sports and who want to be active in their schools again. And those underprivileged kids is why I'm here, because COVID isn't their worst enemy. It's not what's making them unsafe. The treatment of COVID that's being imposed on them is making them unsafe. These children are left at home with no parental supervision. There's despondency, isolation, suicide, child abuse, alcohol abuse going on, and no one's out on the fields playing. My son's been sent home from the sheriff from going out and playing catch on the fields in Washoe County. We have to stop this. We have to quit making the treatment worse than the disease. So I want to share with you three things: the danger, the data, and a call to action. The danger of what we're doing to high schoolers right now, they haven't learned a darn thing since last March in schools. I have 2 high schoolers. School's a joke, much less the student athletes. So think about their days before. They'd go to school at 6 a.m., they would work out, they would go to school for 8 hours, they have after-school sports. They have, I'm not just here for football players, drama students, debaters, student government, dancers, cheerleaders, they've all been shut down. What do you guys expect them to do? What do you think teenagers in Washoe County should be doing? So I understand that you fund the NIAA, who I've spoken to and written to. I understand that you fund the school board. I fund you. I pay property taxes on 4 properties. We're paying for schools and athletes and coaches, and we've shut all of this down. So I'm here today for one thing. My son and daughter have been told, call the school board, call the NIA, write the governor. We've done all of that. We've had no response, except for I've had one phone call. Jeannie Herman has called, and I appreciated that so much. Out of all of our leadership in this state, and particularly in this county, I haven't had a response. And we feel like you've turned a deaf ear to our high school students, and they feel that way too. So I would ask that the finger pointing stop. I think it points to the governor, personally. I think he's the leader of our state. But wherever the finger pointing stops, this is not a way to raise our kids. This is not a way for them to learn how government works. This is not for the people and by the people. So I have so much more energy about this than I thought when I walked up here. But I appreciate the chance to speak with all of you today, and I really hope you'll take some action on behalf of our high schoolers.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Do we have any other public comments?
There is nobody else signed in chambers.
Anybody from Zoom? All right, with that, we will close public comment and bring it back to the board, and we are adjourned.